It appears Washington lawmakers are moving closer to a compromise on President Obama's request for nearly $4 billion in emergency spending on the border crisis. Any deal would likely include policy changes to expedite the return of tens of thousands of children who've been streaming across the U.S. border with Mexico and send them back to their home countries.
It's being called the only must-pass legislation on Capitol Hill, the Transportation Highway Bill. And now Senate Finance Committee leaders have agreed on a nearly $11 billion plan to extend construction funding, closely matching a plan from House Majority Leader John Boehner that includes changes in pension taxes and customs fees. John Harwood joins us now from Washington with more on this bill making its way through Congress right now. John, is this just a stopgap measure? What's your take on it?
Absolutely. It's just a stopgap. This is not just must-pass legislation, Susie. It's must-pass soon legislation because the Highway Trust Fund, financed by the gas tax, begins to become insolvent next month. So they need to be able to have some revenue to at least extend projects that are already underway, at least temporarily. Both of these bills would extend the trust fund into the middle of 2015, but only until the middle. These programs are typically authorized for 5-year periods of time, but they've come up because there's so much difficulty coming up with ways to finance it with a $10 billion package on the Senate side, similar package on the House side to extend it to mid-2015.
Why is this sort of short-term stopgap solution so endemic in Washington right now?
Tyler, as you know, the two parties are incredibly polarized and divided. The larger or longer a solution to a problem becomes, the more expensive it is, and the more money that either has to be cut from the budget if you're looking from a Republican perspective, or increased in taxes from a Democratic perspective. So what tends to be the compromise default is a path of least resistance, the smallest possible for the shortest period of time. It's not a great way to do business, but that's about the only way that can work right now in Washington.
Speaking of business, where does this leave American businesses? They could really benefit if this bill passes.
It leaves business uncertain, Susie, across a range of fronts on the highway bill, construction projects, on the Ex-Im Bank, which is something that is at risk, vulnerable in the Congress, even though Democrats support it. Some Republicans don't. On tax extenders, which typically get the things like the R&D tax credit get extended for a very short period of time. And on immigration, we don't have a solution there either. Business wants one.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot, John. John Harwood reporting from Washington.